So let's go ahead and get to it. The Battle of Pennsylvania. That's what I'm calling it.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Tomlin called it the PA State Championship. So.
That's great.
I like that a lot better. That's dope.
It's a 4:25, right? Kickoff Eastern time.
America's game of the week, actually.
Yeah.
Tom Brady on the call.
That is crazy.
I'm not gonna lie. I do not like playing on Fox. That's just me personally.
I mean,
I don't like
us
playing
personally
on Fox.
as a AFC team, we don't see our team on Fox too often. But
Cheese, let's talk about the Eagles.
What's going on this week? What
it's
they
a
got
lot going on.
A lot going on. Obviously, the loudest story right now is the stability of Jalen and AJ's relationship. I think a lot of people were freaking out initially after the game in the media scrum at AJ's locker, where he was asked, what can improve most on the offense, and he said passing. I think a lot of people just assumed that he was taking a shot at Hurts, but as most logical football fans know, and not people from Philly, because Philly fans are fucking nuts.
We know how that goes. We know how that goes, dude. It must be PA fans. Right?
We are an emotional bunch, and it's okay. But like I said, most logical football fans would think, okay, well, passing game has a lot to do with coaching. It has to do with blocking. It has to do with separation, timing, and so for people to just assume that it falls on Hurts, or AJ was talking about Hurts, is a little dramatic, but that's what Philly media does. Yep. I hate WIP, just like everyone else in Philly. But and then Brandon Graham went on his show, I think the next night, saying basically just kind of adding fuel to the fire. And it was shocking to me because, that's just not Brandon Graham at all.
He just got hurt, didn't he, too?
Yeah, he's out for the season, which this was supposed to be his last season, so it's absolutely heartbreaking. He's played the most snaps as more than any other Eagle in history. But he made some comments on his show that I, added fuel to the fire, and just kind of it made it seem a lot worse than it probably actually is. He was just saying that he said, I know one is trying, referring to Jalen, obviously, and he said an 11 needs to watch how he reacts to things sometimes, and so it was pretty divisive. And he said that they used to be friends before they were playing together, and now things are different. I think what he meant by that was that they're still friends, but working with your friends is a lot different, as some people know, and especially when you're making millions of dollars, and there's
you want to get your stats and incentives. You want to hit all your incentives. Everything.
Exactly. There's a lot more on the line than just a minimum wage paycheck.
It's a business now. It's not funny.
Exactly.
Games.
And so, but over the last few days, Coach Sirianni's come out and obviously diffuse the situation as best he could. It could just be coach talk, but at the same time, Sirianni has not been known to bullshit with the media. Right. And then today, even there was another media scrum after practice at AJ's locker, and he kind of alluded to what I just said about the passing game being a lot of different assets, like
play call,
facets
timing,
of the game, not just the quarterback. And so, kind of like I've been thinking the whole time, I don't think it's as big a deal as people are making it out to be. But I think because of the way the media has been perceiving it, I think it now makes this game a must-win, because if they go out and Jalen has another 100-yard performance and AJ only has 4 targets again,
it could turn into something.
It's going to get louder. It's going to get louder. And so, we can sit here all we want and say that, we can't let the media get into our ear about things, but at the end of the day, it's going to happen, especially when part of the media is your own teammate. But yeah, so I think on that note, I think AJ is going to be force fed this game.
That's why I don't believe in none of that. That's why I don't like it. The whole time that this whole thing has been going on this whole week, I'm like, I don't believe none of this, because y'all trying to bring. I need my DBs to be. I need Joey Porter Jr. I need Dante Jackson to be locked in.
We can't have another replay of I know. So this is crazy because I seen a tweet about this. AJ had the same kind of concerns before the Steelers and the Eagles played last time in Philly. And you know what happened that game?
Yes.
Yeah, AJ.
That's why I'm not believing AJ Brown. I'm sorry. I'm not believing nothing that he's saying.
AJ's doing it so he gets the ball. Right?
Exactly.
And I will say that is, I mean, AJ's going to get force-fed, and that's going to go one of two ways.
Bro, he's getting 8 to 10
one of two ways.
targets.
Oh, yeah, that's going to go one of two ways.
In the first half.
Yes, basically, that's what's going to happen.
But no, my thing is it's going to go one of two ways. We have a better secondary than we had, 2 years ago when we played in Philly. So it's going to go one of two ways. It's going to go in their favor again, or Hurts is going to throw a couple interceptions and will help us out because we're going to need to cause some turnovers.
On the same note, do you guys play more of a man or zone?
We actually have been a good mix this year. It's really weird because Joey Porter's really good at just manning up, and I think that we also like some of our scheme is to just have him on an island and run a zone around him. So it's a very good mix because Dante Jackson I feel like is more of a zone corner.
Yeah, he's like one of the best zone.
Yeah, he's a zone corner, so it's like mix and match. I mean, and I think that's good for our defense because when we were going strictly man and we didn't have a man corner on the other side of Joey Porter Jr., we were getting toasted.
Yeah.
So, it's a nice little mix. I don't see why Joey wouldn't be on AJ almost all game. I would bet he follows him.
Yeah.
I don't see why not. So, yeah, I mean, AJ's probably going to get force-fed. We have a receiver that's our best receiver that is not going to get the ball at all. We have
for
GP,
like the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, GP has a grade 2 hamstring sprain, so that means there's a partial tear. They say he's progressing, whatever that means. He hasn't practiced. He's questionable for this game. I don't see him playing for this game. They're going to rest him, try to get him back because the division's on the line for the Ravens the following week. So Jawan, with knowing that he's most likely going to be out, who do you think steps up? I know your answer, actually. I don't even have to ask you your answer.
Yeah, but, I mean,
but what are the coaches going to do to fill the spot?
It's about time. It is about time. Well, I think to start off, for most of the outside, it's probably going to be Van Jefferson and Calvin Austin.
Yeah,
for the most part.
Well, I think Scotty Miller is gonna. No, I'm not even joking. I think Scotty Miller will be playing a lot because there was a couple of times we were in 21 personnel and he was out there as the lone receiver. So
let me tell you something. If Scotty Miller played more reps, had more reps than Mike Williams, bro, I can't deal with it. Look, we did it last week. That's cool and all. It's a whole week. We got a whole week. But Mike Williams this is the Mike Williams game that everybody wants. It's time game, which I thought his moment was in Washington.
When a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
But people still want to see him, and I want to see him. And this is a perfect opportunity. My thing with us is, especially when Russ looks for the goal, like for his moon balls.
Yeah.
And he's keep on passing it to Scotty Miller. I mean, Calvin Austin.
Who else does he? I mean,
Mike Williams.
When Mike's not out there,
I'm saying that's supposed to be the play for Mike Williams.
I got you.
But
I'll just get into what I think they're going to do.
Okay.
With that, I think it's just going to be a good rotation. I think we'll get into the Phillies defense in a little bit, but I think they're going to have to feed our tight ends, and I just think that Pat Freiermuth would be a lot of the game plan, and I'm sure the Eagles probably know that. So getting guys in there that have different skill sets. I think you just need to put the receivers. I think the coaches are going to put the right receivers out there for the right play calls, not making it too obvious to where, Ben Skronik's out there for every run play. I mean, that's the only thing you can really do. So I think they'll mix it up well, and they'll get Mike Williams in there for those one-on-one routes. I hope they move Mike Williams around a little bit to, get him in 1v1 because – other than that, I don't think Mike Williams is a great route runner. Like, George Pickens is by far a better route runner than him. But if we can get him on the outside, get him 1v1, I'll put him 1v1 against Slay. I'll say that. But
he's not going 1-on-1 versus Quinion.
Yeah, we're good with that. We're gonna stay away from that.
He got some. Hey, Calvin Austin might have something to say with that.
That's gonna be. We'll
that's
get
gonna
into
be
that.
interesting.
All right, so
He could take a trip to Quinyanamo Bay, bro. You're getting locked up.
Speaking of that, what are your guys' biggest matchups? What's your biggest matchup of this game? Well, Juwan, you can start because you're Mr. Host. I kind of just took your question from you, so why don't you start? What's your biggest matchup for this game? Your biggest matchup. All right. We'll each pick one.
Okay. Their O-line versus our D-line. That
was one of mine as well.
Yeah, that's gonna feed families.
No,
right
man,
because
I will say this because Junie did send me some notes. Shout out Junie. I hope you're laying with your new baby and your wife and taking care of your kid. But he said the same thing, same exact thing that he said. That's my matchup. It's bullies versus bullies. Whoever wins that can really win this game.
Mm-hmm. That's the deciding factor of this game. To be honest, that's a top O line versus top D line.
So what do you need to see from the Steelers D line, in the sense of like, is it more in the pass rush or is it more stuff in the run with Mr. Saquon Barkley?
Stuff in the run.
Yep.
Because that's really our main target. Like the main person we need to stop is him.
And keeping Jalen Hurts in the pocket. I agree.
Yeah, keeping him in the pocket. Now that's gonna be a big test for Queen and Wilson. But for the most part, we just need to stack the box because they're gonna do the tush push. Yep. Sooner or later it's gonna happen.
Saquon's gonna get down to the one, and Jalen's just gonna steal another one of his rushing touchdowns.
MVP would be wrapped up by now.
We were talking about it at work. We're like,
I'm not mad at it by any means, but
2 weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago, we were talking about it. Eight of Jalen Hurts' touchdowns, rushing touchdowns, came from tush pushes, and Saquon was the one to get him down to like 1 yard line, bro.
Almost every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just imagine Saquon having 8 more touchdowns. He'd have MVP locked up. Anyways, what's your matchup?
So going back to yours really quick though, I think obviously yes, stopping Saquon is going to be a massive key to your defense this week. I will say though, last week the Panthers got a lot of pressure on Jalen. More specifically up the middle. And so that was kind of my note on the interior line battle. Even without Clowney, they were still getting right in Jalen's face, and that was part of what messed up him and AJ's timing quite a bit. But anyways, I hate to hammer home AJ Brown, but my biggest matchup is AJ versus everybody. Because Kellen Moore loves to move him around the formation, and he loves to put him in motion pre-snap as well. So I think AJ, and I think we need AJ, again, to quiet the media. I think that's, for me, as someone who just wants peace around a team that's 11-2 right now. I don't know how we have noise around a team that's 11-2. It's nuts. We're winning games.
Trust me, I know. We're the same way, though. Like that's why I said these teams are so similar.
Yeah. But I expect to see him making plays in all levels of the field. Short game, obviously RPO, over the middle, down the sideline. I think it's what the team needs to get AJ back in a rhythm, and to B, also get Jalen in a rhythm. This is our last non-division game before the end of the season. After you guys, we have 3 straight division games to finish the year, and so albeit our division is lackluster to say the least.
Division games, man, it don't matter.
Yes, absolutely. And so I think, while I said earlier this is a must-win game, or I view it as a must-win game, I think it's also a great opportunity to try and get your passing attack back on track before these 3 division games and playoffs.
And that, I do want to say, Junie made a note about that. He's like, this game truly means pretty much nothing to both teams, in the sense of like each team, the matchup. I mean, it gives you a contender on each side of, like, we're playing an NFC team, top contender in the NFC. You're playing a top AFC contender. I also do want to say that he said that, and he's like, like you said, you have divisional games after this, so that's what they want to get their things right in this game. It's a big matchup because it's Steelers-Eagles, period. Mm-hmm. But win or lose, you still have everything in front of you. So that's one thing Junie was saying. I just wanted to point that out. He sent me some notes, so I want to make sure he gets shouted out. So what's your top matchup, we'll say, besides what did we say? Their O-line versus the Steelers D-line. What's your top match?
I said AJ versus everybody. Yeah.
I don't know how I completely forgot that. So my matchup, I'm going to put it on the opposite side. I think this game is won in the trenches, period. I think it's our O-line versus their D-line. Jalen Carter against, Zach Frazier in the middle. You guys have filthy, like your D-line's filthy. You have good pass rushers. Your linebackers, I would say, are probably one of your weaker spots in your defense, although Nakobe Dean has been playing well.
And Zach Bond's playing like an
that's what
all-pro.
I'm saying that's the point. Like, that's probably your weaker spot. I would say your secondary is all right. Slay's, I feel like he's wish-washy. Like, 1 week he's really good. Next week he's not the greatest. We have the same issue. But I would say our O-line versus your all's D-line, because we like to run the ball. We want to get the ball running to set up play action. If we can't move you guys up front, we're going to have a hard time just dropping back and passing, because you guys also have a pass rush. So I think that is the biggest, besides, I would say, same thing y'all said with the D-line, the Steelers D-line versus the Eagles O-line. I think this game's won in the trenches. So whatever O-line can dominate, whatever D-line can dominate, we have the best chance to winning with that domination. I also want to say that Cooper is DeJean, right?
Well, we like to say DeJean.
Cooper DeJean. I also want to say, just point out that, ever since he stepped in, that's when your defense really did take the next step, the secondary. And I think that's another matchup that, if DeJean is covering Pat Freiermuth or, covering our slot like Calvin Austin, I think that's a key matchup to watch out for, because we're going to have to. Well, you guys have pretty good corners on the outside. We're going to have to attack the middle of the field with, Pat Freiermuth, Calvin Austin, and, that moon ball is 1v1s. We'll see who wins. Like, Mike Williams could win some. Slay could win some. Mr. Mitchell can win some. So, Cooper DeJean, I think, is another key piece that the Steelers as an offense have to watch out for, where he's lining up and who he's covering, because
he actually finally looked like a rookie last week. Against Thielen.
I know Thielen was balling.
Yeah, they brought him in on pre-snap motion a couple times in the slot, and it switched to DeJean, and he kind of got cooked a few times. He won his battles a few times as well, but there was one specific route that I'm thinking about where Thielen absolutely sold an out route and then took him up the sideline, and Coop was lost. And so I think obviously I think he learns from it, but that was the first week where I was like, oh yeah, I do forget that he's a rookie sometimes.
That's the matchup I was trying to look for, like Mitchell versus Pickens.
Oh man, that would have been. Oh man, that would have been.
Because Q, he talks his shit too.
Yeah,
like
that's dog versus dog.
The first game in Brazil against the Packers, he was going at I think it was Christian Watson and Reed Blankenship and Cooper DeJean had to hold him his first game as a rookie.
No, he does. I remember him even coming out he would be talking crap in college.
As a Toledo chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, he got that Toledo chip. So yeah, this game is, I know you guys probably think it comes down to the trenches, but man, I'm excited. I'm excited for this. I think this is whoever wins the turnover battle. This is a typical NFL game that you want to see. Whoever wins the turnover battle, you have a great defense versus two pretty good offenses. So we have two top five defenses versus two offenses that one's kind of has a great running back and is kind of trending backwards in the quarterback. Steelers, on the other hand, their quarterback's starting to play better, which is showing their offense, but they're also down George Pickens. So I feel like this is a prime matchup, and that's why it's the game of the week. It has to be.